So with this project, we're going to be changing this icon here and change the club into whatever you want. So one of the things I selected for that was the sticker here. So there's a couple of ways you can approach this. Let's say that you just want this to be completely replacing the club. First thing you can do is you can refine the edge or just crop it. I'm going to use the magic wand tool. I unlocked the layer. I selected the background. I hit delete. Gets rid of the background. And then if I wanted to, I can certainly just send this over like so. And then I can just fit it into place. Now, one of the things that I mentioned to you is that if you put it over here, you want to put a smaller version over here. So what you can do is you can use the clone stamp tool, get rid of the club, put this in place, make a copy of it, size, get it to be, a bit smaller in proportion, and put it in place over here. So that's one way that you can approach this. Like I said, you want to get rid of the club around it. Another way of, if you wanted to keep it easier, you can just make this large enough so it covers up the club. It's completely up to you, however you want to handle that. But another thing which would be kind of interesting to think about is you can actually keep the club, but maybe have it where the image goes like inside of this club. In other words, cut this so it is the shape of the club. So what I can do is I can make a copy of the club. So I'm going to use the magic wand tool again, and I'm going to select the club. So you can see the way that it's set, I have it set up to tolerance 65. It's pretty high, and it selected a lot of the club. Just to show you, if I set the tolerance at 20 and did the same thing again, you could see it did not select the club in its entirety. So if you play around with it and you set it up higher, it'll select much, much more. So if I do 80, you can see it pretty much selected the whole entire thing. I can add to the selection and select those little dots that it missed. And then what I can do is I can make a copy of this club. So you can see that it's sitting on its own layer all by itself. What I can do now is I can put this club in place in front. Now it's behind it. And I can get it, a proper size. Figure out where or how much of that logo I want. I can even lower the opacity of this, just kind of using it as a stencil. So you could see it's not going to get the entire words Maroon 5, but it's going to get most of it. And what I can do is I can use this shape as a stencil, so I can select the whole shape. If I hold down the command button and click on the thumbnail, it will select the outside of this. I can go to the Maroon 5 layer and I can right click, make sure you're on a selection tool, right click, layer via cut. And what you can see is layer 5 and 3, it cut it into two pieces. I can discard this. I can even discard the club because I don't need that anymore. And I can just move this into place, in its place, which might look pretty cool. And then I can do the same thing with the smaller one. I could just make a copy. And put it in place over here. And then just to neaten it up, I'll get rid of the club behind it by using the clone stamp tool. So that's replacing the suit.